Yeah, I think let's talk about a couple of those Currie Cup finals that you're involved in, Naas. First of all, just asking, which one was your? I mean, you're involved in 11. Which one is your favorite?
See, it's a difficult one because that's all we had. Okay, apart from some internationals and whatever. So I would say maybe 80. I really played a nice game. First one is always going to be your first one. There's not a second first one. So 77. But then you take 78, difficult one against Free State in Bloem. You can't believe. Okay, and then we pulled it through. Then you got the draw in Cape Town. And then 80, I thought that was a great one. 81, coming back from New Zealand was absolutely special because I've never seen a pack of forwards really got stuck into somebody else like that. Racking that bullseye that day. I don't think I played my best game, okay? But it was a nice win, if I can put it that way. Then, of course, 85, we just got beaten by the better province. That's it, Then you look at 87. Maybe if you look at what happened during the game and whatever, yes, maybe it was the better one. But as I go on, everyone is special in its own way. So maybe you play just better in one than the other, or you maybe contributed a little bit more. But at the end, everyone, even the loss against Natal in 90, it's all special, if I can put it that way. So if you ask me, all 11.
I was going to say, because 87 to me is probably the most comprehensive fly-off performance I've seen in my lifetime. I'm going to say, I lost a girlfriend that day thanks to you. I was a schoolboy, Lions supporter, and I was just in such a foul mood after that. It was an amazing display. I think you guys were 15-6 down at halftime, if I remember right. And the legend is that you said to the team, "Just give me the ball." And those drop goals from both feet in that rain, that must have been it was a difficult conditions to play in. A great performance.
Yeah, but that's why I say, Brendan, maybe on playing wise, there was maybe, like you said, maybe the better contribution. But if you take 80, that was one heck of a team performance. 81, difficult. You just been to New Zealand. And you come back and guys worked hard to get the Bulls or Northern Transvaal into the final, and then at least to go and win the final. And I think the Free State tried to play a trick and say, "Oh, they're not playing their touring players or whatever." And Bielman had his attitude. He phoned me in New Zealand. He said, "Listen, I would like you all to play." I said, "But please just sort it out with the players that contributed to get us into the final." He said, "That's my job. It's not your job. Your job is go and find out everybody wants to play." I said, "Okay, I'll go and then Tiens was sort of slightly injured, and he said he doesn't want to play, and it was fine. And then Beerman wanted to leave one of the players out that was on tour for a player that maybe I gather performed a little bit better in his view. And I said, "You can't do that." I said, "He's a Springbok. You can't do that, And there was a little bit of a serious discussion between us, and he said, "But I'm going to do it." I said, "Okay, but we here on tour, okay? Not everyone is playing that well, but take everybody's situation in consideration. It's not always easy." I said, "It's either you play all of us or nobody." I said, "Okay, then I'll play all of you." And at the end, we had a good game on that one. But that's why I say 91, after totally being out. We were at Sun City having a lekker jaw and whatever. And the next moment, Robert Denton came running and told us, "Hey, boys, we're in the final." "What?" "Yeah, we're in the playoffs. We play Province on the Wednesday. We play, hopefully, Transvaal the next, Free State that Saturday, hopefully. And then a week later, Transvaal."
Is that the
out of this whole holiday, whatever, out in the, whatever you want to call it, to actually switch on, because that Wednesday against Province, we had a fantastic game. We really played well, you know, and then take you back to that playoff against the Free State. I don't know, till today, I still use it as a great example. I had the first kick, and I thought, but I'm not feeling well. I don't know why. Something bothered me. And I walked up to Gerben Grobler. I said, sorry, it's your day today. And he kicked 8 out of 8. And we got into the final. We won that final. So if you take all that, being out, and then this guy that only in his socks tackled FC Smith at Bloemfontein, and all this and all that, out in the cold, and we won the Currie Cup. Now, if that is not exciting, then I don't know what is exciting. That's why I say, yes, maybe 87 as a player. But if you go 87, you take Adrie Gelnys, you take Adolf Malan, you take Burger Gelnys, Puerto Fourie, Lampies, and everybody contributed, because it wasn't an easy final. But Adrie Gelnys taking kickoffs like it's a sunny, dry day at Loftus, you know. And we all know the ball is wet and it's slippery and whatever. So I can go every single game and I'll show you how the whole team contributed. And that's why I say yes sometimes, but take it. My job was to get points on the board, isn't it? So I just did the same as the Lock and Uli and whatever.
The year before that, Naas, you talk about 1991. I remember that. I think his name was Brian Barendorf, the guy who tackled FC Smith. I mean, you guys were FC Smith and Bloemfontein in his underpants. Yeah. But so you guys got out of jail in a way that year. But the year before that, you were going to win the Currie Cup easily. I mean, Natal came up to play at Loftus. They'd lost twice quite badly to you that season. What happened that day?
I'm definitely going to say to you straight off, it wasn't overconfidence. Absolutely not. We never underestimated anybody. It wasn't allowed. Okay, I think it was more going onto the field. Okay, when Peter Nel got hurt in the tunnel. Okay, that's where, you know. But it just shows you sometimes how stupid you are. We should have just said to whoever, please just give us 5 minutes. Let's just reset a little bit here, okay? And it just all started wrong, okay? It all just started wrong. And then the tackle on Tony Watson, we had him. 2 players had him, okay? They just had him. And they just let it go, you know? And then somebody jumped on his head and the 6 points became a 9-pointer, you know? And then I'll sit one day with you guys over a beer and I'll show you, you know, Juris Edwards kicked the ball there. I catch the ball there. Dick Meir is like 10 meters away from me playing, you know. You're not allowed to, not according to the law, okay? But it was all allowed. So, you know,
is that what...
let's settle for on the day they beat us, and that's it. We've got to take it. That one we take on the nose and we keep quiet.
Is that what really
like going into the final, we had that Lion Cup final 62-6 and all that, but you know, that's why it's a final. You know, you're there in the final to win. You're not there to look for excuses. So that was the end of it. That was really
the following year they beat you 55-14, but you weren't there. You were playing in Italy, which is what I was going to ask you about, was your Italian career. It was 54. It was bizarre because they won the final. Then it was 54-15 or something like that at Kings Park. It was actually the first game of rugby. It was the first game of rugby I actually wrote about. It was 54-15 and then 62-6 the following game, which was the Lion Cup final. I mean, there were huge swings in those 2 games in that year. I mean, you didn't play in that first game, but you must have been quite shocked when you heard that they'd lost 54-15. I mean, in the first game of that year.
See, I think sometimes, you know, teams do get into a scenario where, you know, as a team, they perform well. You're taking 1 or 2 players out of the team, and we even see it today. Even today. team plays well, you take 1 or 2 players out because of injury or whatever, suddenly it's not the same team. And I think at that stage we were sort of that kind of team. Okay. You know, it was so set, and the guys really, and even if it wasn't me, let's say, being out, or Uli Schmid then out, or whatever, it just never felt that comfortable, if I can put it that way. And yes, but you know, I think it just got me more by surprise that 54, what's it, 54-15 now?
Yeah.
That really got me by surprise, because that was never on the cards, put it that way. But it just shows you, you know, things like that can happen, and I think that's the thing we take out of sport every day. You never underestimate anybody, never. Okay, and you never take anything for granted. You know, you on the day do your job. That's it.
I was going to talk about Italy, and because of course that was the sort of funny period in rugby where it was like amateurism in South Africa. I mean, people maybe were getting paid when they shouldn't have been getting paid. Tell us about your time in Italy. I mean, and that time, I remember there was a North-South game that I saw on TV. I remember those North-South, those were like the big games that year. And I remember Wessel Lightfoot was playing for the South and you were playing for the North. And there must have been some big fight going on about money, because Wessel was injured and he had some injury. And I remember you were in the opposing side, and I heard you on TV, and my Afrikaans isn't that great, but I learned some Afrikaans that day, where you said, "Dis nooit te werd nie, Wessel, dis nooit te werd," and he went off the field. Do you remember what the situation was then? It was something about not getting money. I mean, even in the 1986 Cavaliers series we spoke about earlier, there was a bit of stuff going on because the Cavaliers were being paid. I mean, I've asked you a very broad question there, but if maybe you could just tell us a little bit about that time and how difficult it was.
Yeah, it wasn't that difficult. The thing is, everything just started, I want to say, moving into a direction, okay? And it was all about, not serious money, but I mean, it was the talk, you know? I think players felt that they're doing the job, and the only guys that actually got something out of rugby is actually the guys not doing the job, okay? Let's put it that way, okay? And I think, you know, there was one game, North against South at Newlands, and the whole week it's just talking money. You know, all players, don't make a mistake, all players just talking money, okay? And then we decided, okay, what we'll do is we'll just cover up the sponsor, okay? And then Craven came into our change room, okay, to wish us good luck and whatever, and we were covered up. And he said, "What are you guys doing?" He said, "What do you mean, what are we doing?" I said, "Everybody's doing it." He said, No, I was just with the team from the South. They're not doing it. Yes, now we're a little bit surprised, okay, because this is now all in, okay? So he said, "Okay, sorry, Doc, that's what we all decided. We're going to cover up because we should get something out of this." And I said, "But let's go back to the South." So we walked into the change room and they were starting to cover up. Okay, so at the end, I think the sponsor got more out of it because everybody spoke about it. But I think everything was going in a direction. And then a lot of international players, David Campisi, John Cohen, Wayne Smith, a lot of us played in Italy, Gert Small. And I think, you know, that was also turning a blind eye, if I can put it that way. But I'll give you a little bit of a insight into how people worked there, okay? And that's why I think it's fascinating and it's nice to talk about and have a laugh about it, and that's about it, okay? It's at one stage, the Bulls decided, or Northern Transvaal decided, okay, they'll contribute to my salary, okay? They'll contribute, okay? But they're not going to pay me. Okay, they're not. I was working at the University of Pretoria there. They will pay the university, and then the university will pay me. So they never paid me. Are you serious? you follow the point?
Yeah.
Are you serious? You see, but that in those days it just worked like that. Okay, it just that's But some people really looked at that situation and believe, I gather till today, they never paid me. Okay, they paid you, you paid me. You the guilty party. They never guilty. So that was the funny side of it. Okay, but it just made it all fun, if I can put it that way. Italy was a fantastic experience. Great time in Rovigo. Not the best team, but yeah, we played that. And good coaching by Nearly then. Great captaincy by Tito Lupini. And it was 6 years. You know, it was quite a long time that I spent in Italy. But then a couple of seasons, we made it through to the playoffs and finals. Then I only came back to South Africa in June. Now you can imagine how upset some people were there. You know, I recall one day, I think it was still the president's wife, walked up to me at Loftus and she said to me, "You don't understand the word loyalty." So what are you talking about? She said, no, you're not loyal to Northern Transvaal. And I was taken back because I don't have a contract with you. Okay, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. I'm playing a game because I like it. Okay, and if I can play it every day, like I did actually nearly for 6 years, because I played like 50 weekends a year rugby for 6 years. You know, why can't I do that? But see, that's the way people looked at it, and I don't blame anybody. You know, that's why I say that was her opinion. She felt that I should, in March, leave Italy and say, "Listen, I'm going home. I've got to go and play for Northern Transvaal." But in those days, that's just the way it worked. You know, I'll give you another little glimpse. You know, when I decided to go to America, I was selected as the police sportsman of the year. Okay. And at the function, all the generals walked up and well done, well done. And as Chris van Onselen actually announced, and now after the sportswoman of the year, now we've got sportsman, the minister told him, "Sit down." Took my name, scratched it out, wrote in somebody else's name, said, "There's your new sportsman of the year." Now that's embarrassing, you follow? But that's just the way I gather it worked. You can't leave. The protocol says you can't leave before the minister leaves. So I just had to sit there, and nobody, like everybody's too scared to just come and say, "Oh, sorry," you know, just too scared. Until today, not one person apologized for that. But that's just, I gather that just made me who I was, or who I am. You know, that's it. It's part of the deal, and you just keep quiet and you just go, and tomorrow it's another day and just go. But I mean, those little things played a part somewhere, because you just don't do that. You follow? You just don't do that to anybody. But they did that. But I feel, like you said, you know, it was anti the establishment. You just don't leave to go and play American football. You just don't do that. But you know what? It's good to talk about it, but you know, sometimes I think it's not really that fair, but is life really fair? You know, so just go.
Talking about being fair, you a lot of people sort of forget that you didn't just play in the apartheid era. You actually were the first post-isolation captain in '92. You captained the Springboks in that '92 test, the comeback test against the All Blacks, and then against Australia in Cape Town. Just like I was young then, and I've done a bit of research since then and refreshed my memory of some, because I wrote a book a few years ago about the Springbok coaches, and it was absolutely fascinating and at the same time shocking for me to realize how amateur we still actually were. I know rugby was still amateur then, but how amateur and how unprepared we were. We had the All Blacks come here. We should have at least played Romania or somebody, or Italy or somebody beforehand to warm up. We played the best teams in the world, Australia and New Zealand. Then we went overseas on that tour. And you mentioned 1981, where you felt that the guys should have been ambassadors. We didn't even have a media relation guy on tour with us in '92. Remember that, when you were the captain. How difficult was that for you to be a captain in a situation where there seemed to be a heck of a lot of disorganization? I mean, John Williams told me, the coach, he told me that he found out through third parties that he was even appointed as the coach. You know, it wasn't like it is now where it's a big thing. He had to phone Ari Oberholzer, who was then the general manager of South African rugby in Cape Town, to ask him. He said, "What's going on? I believe that I'm the coach." And Ari Oberholzer said to him, "Yes, you are. You were appointed 3 months ago or something." I mean, it seems like a bizarre situation now, but you were the captain at that time. It must have been bloody difficult.
It was difficult. The first game against New Zealand, I thought we actually played extremely well. Donnie played well, Peter Miller played well, a lot of guys really played well. And we did deserve a little bit more out of that game, seriously, because that game we played well. Australia just took us apart at Newlands. Really, they took us apart. They were a fantastic side, and there's no excuses. Then the tour in France and England, we were so, like you say, very amateur in the whole planning, okay? Because we walked into a hotel. You can't believe how bad it was, okay? And I said to Mr. Milan, I said, we can't stay here, Seriously, you can't. You expect us to perform on the weekend, but and he totally agreed. It's not like I went out to create havoc. I just said that it's unfair to the players, And we also had a couple of, I want to say different camps in the team, because you can't blame anybody. The Natal guys, and you got the Transvaal guys, and you had the Northern Transvaal guys, and we were all just put together and to try and make, let's say, a success of re-entering in the international arena. So it was very difficult. And I think some players believe they should have been selected ahead of other players, but somebody had to break the ice. Let's rather look at it this way. Somebody had to do that, and we did that. Okay, we were, I don't think, treated that well in France, to be honest. But that's just the way it was. Now you don't care about the host. If you think about it, you do your own thing. And in those days, the host actually played quite a major part in the whole organization and how comfortable they make it for the team. I can recall now we surprised everybody and we beat France in the first test. Okay, now it's the second test.
Lyon, yeah.
Yeah, and then now Lyon is now Paris. Okay, then John Williams said, okay, we need to scrum. Yeah, no, okay, the scrum machine is there. Then we'll go there. Then they say, oh, sorry, we moved it there. So we didn't scrum. So they made it so uncomfortable as possible to make it, I want to say, a little bit impossible to win. But that's why I say don't blame anybody. That's just the way it worked. Okay. Today it's a different ballgame. That's why I say take the eras as is. Somebody had to break the ice. Very disorganized. Nobody to blame, because suddenly we're back with a bang and we need to play and we need to try and win, and it was just difficult. But speaking, I gather, to anyone part of, they would say, oh, it was all fine, not the greatest, but it was all fine, and that's the way I looked at it, because playing wise it was difficult in France. Every game it was like playing a top team. They called it barbarians and they called it this, whatever, but they really got stuck into us. And that's why I think we surprised everyone by winning that first test. And then after that, I think everybody tried to contribute to make it as difficult as possible, the second one. But, and then England, I thought the first half we played really well. Second half, a couple of, I believe, bad mistakes. Okay. But, after that, then at least we were back. And I think let's look at, we contributed getting us back. And the guys that went on that tour, not an easy tour, but they did well. And unfortunately, we lost Adrie Gelnhuys because he broke his hand, and he was a vital part of that team at that stage. And maybe if that didn't happen, I don't think the second test we would have won, but I think we could have made it a little bit more difficult for France. But good not a good tour because it was too difficult to call it a good tour. But playing wise, I think all the guys actually contributed.
But it must have been quite difficult for you as well, because provincialism was very rough in those days. And the guys had been playing against each other almost like a test match atmosphere, like for years. And I think I remember you even been quoted somewhere. You said that like there were lots of people that you were now captain of who for years had been hating Naas Botha just because you were from Northern Transvaal and they were from Western Province. I remember Keith Andrews saying to me that the first time he ever played with you was in that your final test at Twickenham. He said he played, that was his first test for the Springboks, and he said he got to understand what a great player you were in that first half in that game, because you did have a very good first. Well, I can't remember what happened in the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But certainly the first half it was a good game for the Boks, and you were brilliant in that first 40 minutes. And I remember Keith saying to me, he said, "Now I understand what a great player he is." So that must have been really difficult as well, just keeping those players together when the whole culture at the time wasn't like it is now, where we sort of all just for the Springboks. It had been like, I'm a Natal supporter, I'm a Western Province supporter, I'm a Northern Transvaal supporter. I mean, that must have been the core of the problem in that tour as well.
Yeah, Gavin, I'll never call it a problem from the player side. It was more from the outside, okay? Players getting influenced by other guys outside the game, okay? Or not outside the game, but outside the squad. Because I think at the end, and that's what I appreciate, and I appreciate it from 77 till my last game, okay? You look at all the players. They were all the kind of guys that doesn't matter what happened outside the game or outside the four lines. When they go onto the field, they're there to do their part. And even in a difficult tour like 92, you can never fault any player. Not once have I ever seen a player running on or saying anything, oh, because of this guy and that management or whatever, I'm not doing my part. They all did their part. And that's the way I think South African rugby players are, yes, we sometimes strive on things like that. But it was difficult. A lot of provincialism in the squad. But I don't think it really divided the squad for not performing on the field. I think we actually performed better than a lot of people anticipated. But it could have been totally different if we did surprise New Zealand in that first one. Because we had him. We just lost the ball going over, scoring. So, but, that would have been maybe a little bit of, as they would say, that win Japan against South Africa. That would have been actually I believe, one of the bigger upsets in world rugby. Doesn't matter how you look at it. A South African team that was absolutely nowhere coming to beat New Zealand. But, okay, it didn't materialize. So, but the guys really played well that first game. But unfortunately, see, and the thing is, it's easy now. If you go back, you can imagine taking 15 guys and just build up and build up and build up to that New Zealand game. And I think the Australian game should have been 2 weeks later, not a week later.
Yeah.
But, as we all learned,
I was going to ask.
You retired on the night of the Twickenham game, which was the last test of that very difficult tour. If the tour hadn't been so difficult and it had turned out differently, because although you were 34, you were still playing good rugby at the time. And I remember Ian Mack saying to me the following year, Ian Mack took over from John Williams as coach. And Ian Mack said to me that he was sorry that you retired and that he wished that you'd been there to help him through his first season the following year. Was that because, were you always intending to retire then? Or were you just sort of hutful, to quote Oosterrand?
No, it's, to be honest, I actually don't know. I think it's only because, let's be honest, it's not like today. You've got people managing, giving good advice, whatever you like on your own, and sometimes you think you make a good decision and it's not really the best decision, but that's fine. It's just the way, I think we all make some decisions. Then you think back, was it the right one? Who knows? It was a decision made and that was the end of it. But it's maybe I could have maybe contributed a little bit more. Nobody knows. But you know, at least if I look back at it, you know, that squad of 92, as I said to you a little bit earlier, absolutely everybody contributed to get us back to, I think, where we're supposed to be, world champions. That's where we're supposed to be. And if you take our history just in World Cups, how successful we actually are, you know, it's unbelievable to think that through what we've been through and through isolation and being excluded and this and that, and we've got 3 World Cup wins. It's unbelievable, you know. So that's why I would rather compliment everybody that contributed to South African rugby. Doesn't matter if it's 100 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, all contributed to where we are today. And that's the way I look at it. That's why I say, don't compare. Don't tell me this era is better than every era contributed to, I believe, a win last year. That's it.
Naas, I know you say don't compare, but I'm going to ask you one question, though, just generally. Obviously, you've seen a lot of fly-offs play over the years from your career, and now being on SuperSport as well. Maybe asking you your best fly-off that you've seen play is a bit unfair. Maybe 2 or 3 guys that have impressed you over those years that you've been watching rugby.
Yes, Brendan, I can give you about 10. Okay, because if you think about it, rather look at it, what did the guy contribute to the game? Because there's no 2 flyers that's the same. That's it. Okay, everyone has got a different. You take Hugo Porta, you know, I think one of the better flyers. Can you imagine if that guy played in a All Black or a Springbok team? Can you imagine? Okay, now Ollie Campbell. Then you look at Rob Andrew, look at Michael Lynott. You look at lately Andrew Mertens. You look at South African flyers, Pollard and Butch James. You know, I can just keep going. You know, now you say, who's the better? Is it really Dan Carter? Is it Johnny Wilkinson? Is it Andre Pollard? Is it Monesta? Who knows? You know, seriously, who knows? You know, all I'm saying is, you look at Joel Stronsky in 95. The drop won us the World Cup. Doesn't matter how the ball got to him, but he still had to do, you know, he still had to make the drop. There was Andrew Mertens. He was on the 22 right in front of the upright. He missed his drop, you know. So, but Andrew Mertens as a fly-off, I think one of the better fly-offs. Same as Rob Andrew, same as Ollie Campbell, same as Craig Chalmers. I can Mark Ella, you know. How good was he? But he played in a different era when we weren't really that, you know, in a scenario to compare him to everybody else. But, you know, if you look at lately, maybe, you know, your Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson. I still think Andre Pollard's got a lot to offer to the game. Carlos Spencer, he just brought another dimension to the game. Now, how do you compare Carter to Spencer? How is it possible? I just can't see it. And I don't try to be difficult. I just can't see it. I just think they all contribute to a fantastic game.
No, fair enough. And then just maybe some of your teammates through the years who had the most influence on you?
Some good guys, guys that stand out: Burger Gelnys, Raymond, Divan Tommy, Garth Wright, Uli Schmidt. There's a tough cookie, I'm telling you. Adolf Milan, Adrie Gelnys, Mona van Heerden, Louis Moorman, you know, Mornay, Rob Lowe. That's why I say, Wes, I can keep you busy. I can seriously keep you busy because it's been a nice long career. But I can go and Gert Small that sorted guys out in Rivigo that tried to get to me, you know, and he really sorted him out, to be honest. And people don't understand how good a rugby player Gert Small was, seriously. But then you get Burger Gelnys, you get Sean Fitzpatrick, you know, I can just they just come, you know. But Jan Marais, you know, a lot of guys underestimated what he contributed in the 80s, you know. Absolutely fantastic. One guy that if he gets his hands on the ball, in those days, he just didn't get it out of him because why? He was a wrestler. And that's when I realized that a guy that did a little bit of that is balanced totally different on a rugby field than the normal guy, you know. And hey, Donnie Gerber, Karel du Plessis, Johan Enes, Gijsie Pinaar, Helgard Miller, you know, they all played a part somewhere along the line in my career. And that's why I'm just, seriously, I'm very grateful I've been surrounded in a career by fantastic, absolutely fantastic rugby players, here and abroad.
I think, Gavin, I don't know if you've got a last question. We're going to probably wrap it up. But just, yeah, just maybe, Naas, where are you now? I mean, are you still with SuperSport? Sorry, I know we haven't had rugby on our screens for a while, so that's probably why I've asked.
Yeah, I saw a nice little joke yesterday. Somebody asked, he said, I think it's called Burgers, you know. He said, I haven't seen watched rugby for a long time. Is Ray Dillon still playing? So I thought that was very clever. But yeah, no, we all waiting. We all waiting for something to happen, you know. Apart from SuperSport, you know, I had long discussions with guys in India last week. But you know, we're all at a lockdown. I think that's the honest truth. We're all at a lockdown, and let's just take it day by day. But I believe there's a lot of people that, you know, can't wait to get something going somewhere. But I believe lives are far more important than, you know, a sport. Must say I did enjoy the last 2 weekends of watching a little bit of golf. I thought that was good fun. You know, hopefully the league in England will start so Liverpool we can win the league after 30 years, you know.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit to look forward to. I think some of the players can't wait to really get going again. But as I say, you know, let's rather worry about human beings at the moment. And then when we start worrying about rugby, I think we'll all be on the same bandwagon. We'll just be glad that we started again.
Well, thanks, Naas. Thanks for the time. I know it's been quite an afternoon. There's lots of stories, lots of talking. Thanks for being with us on this. Appreciate it. I'm sure Gavin does as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks very much, Naas.
No, you're more than welcome. And it was a nice chat. Thanks.